Dude, this is exciting.
I'm going to make sure we could hear us. We discovered. Now, I wonder if that's on the YouTube as well, or if it's just on Jeff's end. Well, this one I'll just say. Here, okay, this is working. Now, I wonder if that's on the YouTube as well. Yeah, this is working. All right, so we hear it here. Wah, wah. We're just testing our mics, ladies and gentlemen. I did say 1 o'clock. Oh, it's not quite 1. Yep. We have a great guest in store for you today from beautiful Thousand Oaks, California. Unity of the Oaks.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. We're speaking at Burbank. Tell people when we're speaking.
Oh, yes. I should say it on the other one, too. Yeah.
All right, then let's wait for that.
Live. If you're joining us live, you can hit the subscribe button, and then every week you'll see when we go live.
Yes.
We are actually in an art studio. This is not a real set.
It is a real live art studio, though.
Yes.
We're waiting for our guest, but probably going to kick off in a minute.
I think she texted you.
No, I texted. That's probably what you saw. I texted her.
Ah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. This looks good.
Okay, so everything's working there.
Should we call her?
Yeah, give her a quick call because then, you know. Oh, here she is.
Oh, perfect.
I'll hit record once. Hey.
Oh, wow. Hello. You look great.
Find the link. It said it was going to be texted and I couldn't find it in my text. And I went back through and found it. I was like, I emailed you guys. I was like,
cool. Thank you.
Hi.
Well, the main thing is you're here and you look fantastic.
Yeah.
Aw, thank you.
Amazing.
Nice to see you guys. You look fun.
Yeah. Thank you. We're going to, so I think it was in the notes, right? We're going to kick off the first 28 minutes. You can turn off your camera and mic, and then we'll bring you in. And by that point, you'll be more than on fire.
And we're going to this isn't intentional. This is just we decided to do something different. So you won't need to worry about reading the Emmett Fox reading. We're going to read that because it's so good to kick the show off for. Besides, you have so many great things to share anyway.
Yeah, you can reference it later or whatever. But Darrell's got the hunch to read it up front, so we're going to go with that.
Okay, perfect. That sounds great. All right, I'll turn my camera off and be listening. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, now you ready?
Yeah. It is all right. You're recording the audio. Okay.
Welcome to The Funniest Thing.
Yes.
Where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
That's right.
I'm Darrell.
I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from Middle School Studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
And today...
Oh, man, we're going to talk about today's topic, mountain moving faith with Reverend Sherry Hursey.
Yes.
We all have the faith to move mountains. The problem is we neglect to believe it. To solve this problem, affirm often, silently or aloud, I have mountain moving faith. By simply reminding ourselves that we do indeed have mountain moving faith, stimulates it and erases all thoughts of limitation from our mind. This opens our mind to receive divine intuition that inspires, guides, and motivates. People whom the world considers to be of genius caliber are those who have the courage and the confidence to listen to and follow the guidance of their intuition and creative imagination. They have faith enough to say yes to opportunities beyond their perceived ability and welcome the thrill of trusting God to go to work through them in better than expected ways at showtime. On this episode, Darrell and Ed share the power of trusting in our inherent mountain-moving faith that makes the seemingly impossible possible. And during the second segment, special guest, Reverend Sherry Hursey, inspires us to utilize our mountain-moving faith with today's reading, Take God for Your Partner. And we're actually going to read that in the front of the show because it's so good.
Yeah.
We couldn't help ourselves.
Well, it's the perfect antidote for not believing in your mountain-moving faith. Before we get to that, we want to thank everyone who tunes in. If you're new, you could press the subscribe button. And we have a host of people on Patreon that we appreciate. Thank you for all your contributions, because that keeps this commercial free.
Yeah, and you can jump on, there's a link to Patreon in the description to the show on YouTube and also on the podcast app. So if you want to join us, start contributing to the show, it's a good time. We got a couple postcards in our P.O. Box, which is funniest thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232. We got one from Lois Conklin. If you're on YouTube, which, by the way, we are live every Saturday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Funniest thing with Darrell and Ed. She says, a smile to start your day, a prayer to bless. Okay, a smile to start your day, a prayer to bless your way.
It's a rhyme.
A song to lighten your burden, and a hug to wish you a good day. Yeah, it's a rhyme with the postal stamp over the top of it. That's what made it.
Well, I think you're supposed to add Sacramento.
Oh, yes. Thank you for all the good words each week to help us through our days. You and, what does that say? You are the best. Bless Lois Conklin. Oh, man. Thank you, Lois.
And she creates these.
Yeah.
These are our own watercolors.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We keep these.
That's right. So we got another card from Grace Deathridge. On the front, there's a sloth that is adorned much like a Vincent van Gogh, with his hat and his little ear bandage and some sunflowers. And he says, Vincent Van Sloth, a.k.a. Vincent Van Slow.
And this is from the
Grace,
UK.
Yeah, from the UK. She said, I'm the love of God in expression. I let God's love guide, direct, and inspire me. God's love in me is drawing me to new ideas, new courage, and visible daily supply. That's from Catherine Ponder. And God's love as me. God's love as me. That's a grace note, she said. Dear Darrell and Ed, thank you for being there, shining your light brightly. Each show is a jewel, and I love how you both keep showing up for the truth and beauty. And your amazing guests and your listening community or family, sending greetings and gratitude and a stream of positivity from the UK, Grace.
We love you, Grace.
We love you, Grace. I want to thank the chief engineer. Make sure the audio is all posted and with the sound effects and the songs. If you're listening on a podcast app, his name's Jeff Comfort, and each week
He takes us
right into the comfort zone.
That's right. You can listen to us on any Audible app. And that doesn't mean just the brand Audible. It means Spotify, Apple, right?
Yep.
Google.
What do we got? Lois Conklin's here with us right on time on the YouTube. Thank you. Looking forward to all the sharing. And CC Gatan says, hello, everyone. So.
CC, we have good news for you today.
Yes.
Because someone you highly recommended is actually going to be joining us here in just a few minutes.
Yes. Oh, my God. I got to listen to one of her talks yesterday, and I was very, very inspired. Should we do the breaths?
Oh, yeah. We got two great breaths to get you in tune with your mountain moving faith.
Yes.
These are affirmative breaths from
when your faith kicks in. Go ahead.
It's named, isn't that an angel's name?
Archangel Peter Gabriel. When you charge yourself up with faith, you feel like singing a little ditty, and that's when you're really kicking into that alignment place where you're letting God flow through you. Everything gets easier. Amazing things happen at every turn. So let's take a deep breath to clear our mind. I'm on my way, I'm making it. I'm gonna watch it grow, yeah.
I'm on my way, I'm making it. I'm gonna watch it grow, yeah.
I'm on my way, I'm making it. I'm gonna watch it grow, yeah.
All right.
All right.
I guess we're ready to get right into things. We're going to kick things
Yes.
off with a classic reading. This reading is from Emmett Fox. We often read something from Emmett Fox, not every show, but we happen to both read from Around the Year with Emmett Fox, which is a book you can get anywhere. And that's a little morning paragraph or two from Emmett Fox for each day of the year. And this one, and that book contains excerpts from his writings. This one in its entirety, which I'm going to read now, called Take God for Your Partner, is from the book Find and Use Your Inner Power by Emmett Fox. So if you're interested in either one of those books, those are the two titles, Find and Use Your Inner Power and Around the Year with Emmett Fox. All right, Take God for Your Partner. This is one of my favorite. I have two favorite Emmett Fox readings, but the next time we do the show, I'll probably say that another one's my favorite.
Right.
But these two are the ones that are like my go-to ones, is Take God for Your Partner and God in Business. And God in Business is in the book Power Through Constructive Thinking, and it's just a few paragraphs long, like this one is. All right, take God for your partner. Why not organize the business of living in a big way? Why creep along, as some people do, from one tiny stepping stone to another, instead of striding out boldly? Why be content with poor health, uninteresting work, or restricted conditions when many other people have already risen above these things? There is a way out of limitation that never fails. It is simple. It calls for no formalities. It requires no money. It is obvious enough when you realize it, but it is strange how many people nevertheless overlook it. It is this: take God for your partner. If you will really make God your business partner in every department of your life, you will be amazed at the quick and striking results that you will obtain. I have said that this partnership will cost no money, but I did not say it will not cost anything. As a matter of fact, it will cost you a great deal because the price will be your whole life, but it'll be worth it. Of course, if you want God to be your partner, he will have to be the senior partner, and you will have to include him in every corner and every phase of your life. If you are prepared to do this, the result will not be in doubt. Most people would be thrilled to be able to go into partnership with some great industrial or financial magnate. They would feel that their future was assured. But here's a partnership with infinite wisdom and infinite power awaiting you. Take God for your partner. And some people might go, okay, but what does that even mean? How do I do that? And thank goodness I met someone years ago who helped kick this stuff into my brain. And anytime I was about to do something new, whether it was, buying my first property, renting out my first property, getting into working into the entertainment business, whatever it was things I had never done before, he would remind me of God in business. And I go, well, how do I know I'm going to be able to find the right place? He goes, Darrell, you have the best realtor in the universe. God will find it. Make God your realtor. And then the people you meet, they're just channels. And it's incredible how just thinking in that way is actually exercising mountain moving faith. The same thing with renting. How am I going to renting out places? How am I going to find the right tenant? It's got to be rented by such and such a date. This and that. And you go, Darrell, once again, the perfect tenant in the perfect way. You have the perfect real estate agent finding the perfect person. And wouldn't you know it, it works every time. When we moved to California, well, how am I going to get a job? What am I going to do? I have no connections. Darrell, you have the best agent in show business. Why don't you just know that God is in charge? And here's the crazy thing. But when you do this, the crazy thing is, I always have to remember to be humble enough to take the thing that's offered that doesn't even seem probably related to the tenant or breaking into show business, because you got to start considering, when you make God your partner, that everyone is a golden link in your good. So you can't dismiss, just a quick story. 6 months out here, I thought, well, I didn't break into show business, but I do need a job. And I figured out my budget was $10 an hour take home at that time, and way back in the 90s, combined with what Lori was making as a waitress and our income from the rental property in New York. So, once again, Mike Dugan taught me, when people would ask me, well, what kind of job are you looking for? I would just say the job that pays $10 an hour. I would leave it open and let God have free play. And one day, a fellow came up to me and said, wow, you're an artist, right? I said, yes, because I had some exhibits in New York. I'd been in several magazines. And he said, oh, great. My mother is looking to hire an artist. I said, fantastic. And I thought, maybe I moved to LA for my art career, And then he said, yeah, she needs someone she could trust to paint neon tubes. And my ego started to say, paint neon tubes? I exhibited with Andy Warhol. Now I'm going to be painting neon tubes? But I was humble enough not to say that out loud. And what I did say out loud was, how much does it pay? He said, $10 an hour take home. I said, okay, can I start tomorrow? Because then I was in the excitement of holy cow. And I was painting those neon tubes in a shed at Santa Monica Airport for a couple of months on my own. They would bring neon tubes. I'd dip them in lacquer. And then one day she came in with the last box. She told me, this is the last box of neon tubes. And she told me how grateful she was. She goes, no one else wanted to do this. And you really cared about it. And because you couldn't break these neon tubes, or they had a glass blower who would have to, hand blow a new one. So I said, yeah, well, thanks. And then she said, well, do you have anything else lined up? And I said, no. And she goes, well, do you want to work on the set? And I'm like, set? And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, these are for a miniature Las Vegas, and it's for a major motion picture. And I said, yeah, I'll work. I ended up making the miniatures for the climax of the movie Con Air, 1998, I think it came out, or 97. And when you see that plane crash through Las Vegas, the plane is a giant model. I specifically built the Hard Rock Hotel sign in miniature that it crashes through, and it was incredible. And then the art director said, "Hey, do you want to stay on and be the stunt coordinator for the stunt?" And I was like, "I never did this before." And he said, "Don't worry about it. You just walk around with a walkie-talkie, and as long as nothing explodes, you're okay." So I said, yes. But this is how it works. And that lady told me, when she took me aside, she said, "You don't know how many people snub their nose at that job, that $10 an hour job." And it was the gateway for my experience of working in the entertainment business. So I just want this to be a lesson, like have your big desire, and then trust God as your partner, and then enthusiastically go forth with that idea that you just need to take care. There's another thing Mike Dugan said about getting a job and meeting our needs. He said, I just need to be about taking care of my business, meeting my needs. And while I'm taking care of the simple things and doing God's business, being kind to others and humble enough to take what comes, God will take care of the heavy lifting.
Yes.
And this has happened time and time and time again. So I'm very excited we're on this topic, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what our guest has to share about this.
Oh, you are not kidding. And actually, you just inspired me because Darrell got the inspired hunch for me to send a couple songs to my friend who's in A&R, very successful, like, in like the magazines type guy, the top guy, young guys coming up. And I just know
Let
him.
them know what that means, though. A&R.
Oh, A&R is artist and repertoire. They're the people who find and sign and then help develop bands like that are out there and get them on the radio. Get them, he's awesome, man. We first and foremost, I didn't even know what he did for many years. He's just a really positive, loving guy. It kind of reminds me of my son in the way he handles things. So we just have a really good friendship because he gets so excited or stoked, as the kids say, when we're just about surfing. He'll bring a fishing rod. He's fishing, and he's just a lighthearted. When I first met him, I thought to myself, is he really this positive, or is this an act? And then I quickly realized, no, he really is that positive. And he and I have had many great experiences. So Darrell was saying, you could be selling your songs and be a professional songwriter. Send that guy these 2 songs that you've written and recorded, and don't worry about getting perfectly recorded. Just send the demos to him and see what he thinks. And so I did, and then that one took me a couple of days of just blessing it, and then eventually, because I just gave myself like 2 days to get the crap out of the way of my mind, to see it positively. Kind of did an Emmett Fox thing, which is like, on this day, I am doing it, and so I did. And then I didn't hear from him for a couple of days, and then he said, I'll get you back with some feedback, and then I didn't hear back. But then the other day, he invited me to come surfing at this beautiful place up north of Malibu that we like to go, and not many people are there. So we're surfing, and then it comes up. I brought it up, and then he said, "Oh yeah, I listened to those songs. They're good. You should record them and put them out." And so at first I was like, "Oh, that's not like the big dream that I thought would, I'll buy these songs or I'll sell them, whatever." Right. And I go, "This feels terrible. I can't let my faith sink."
Right.
So I said, "God, I don't know what to do, but I do know I want my faith to stay high here. He and I are friends. I don't want this to turn into something like suddenly I'm like desperate for something." So I blessed it. And then moments later, after letting it go, giving it over to God, I just started talking about writing songs and how much I love it and how music really changed my life when I got into it when I was in college and started writing. And a friend of mine was like, "We should do a band." And it totally retaught me how I learn, what I'm good at, what God is, because when we write something, my buddy and I were talking about this, something, and Darrell can relate as an artist, something coming out of nothing is such a good example of how God works, the creative flow. So it taught me so much. So anyway, we talked and we just had such a good discussion. And afterwards I realized, while I didn't realize it at the time, what shifted was I just started talking to him as a songwriter. And I can feel how that is paving the way. So I continue to do these.
As your real self.
Yeah, as my real self.
Instead of the old,
right.
Well, I better.
Right. Because
I got a good read. Yeah, we got a good reading about that.
So then I went home and I just keep visualizing he and I in the Warner office where he works, and then signing a contract, getting checks, all these fun kind of ideas.
Yeah.
And the very next day I ran into him in the parking lot. I was going to meet my wife over at a place that he recommended on Main Street in Santa Monica called Bread and Butter.
Unexpectedly, folks.
And I pulled into this other lot. I was at one lot surfing. I drove 2 lots over thinking, I bet I could just walk from there. And on my way in, I thought about this guy joyfully. I look up, there he is by his car. And I'm like, "Hey, you want to go get a coffee at the, and again, it's pure love. Like I'm not even trying to get anything. He and I are very good friends. And we walk over there, he buys me lunch, and then he's doing all his business on the phone. And while it wasn't the full vision, It was so close
Yeah,
in
yeah.
many ways. Now I'm in the scene. I'm hearing him work out
It's signs of
percentages
land.
and deals, and he's buying me. And then what I realized too, if you're going to go for what you, don't call yourself a schlub for what you're doing now. Because when I talked to him the night before, I was like, I'm tired of being a schlub, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, you're not a schlub. I realized he loves me as me. And putting myself down like that,
Yeah.
I caught myself. I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore.
No, it's
Because
horrible.
he and I met without anything to do with music and already have love to, like for each other. So anyway, I cleared all that out, and it's just, so this is the last thing I was going to say about that. While mine is not a completed, amazing story like yours.
No, but it is completed, because once
Yeah.
your mind changes
Yes.
to what wonderful way is God going to work,
Right.
instead of, I mean, that's what kept me excited
Yes.
about painting the neon tubes. I don't know if it's just natural for me my
Yeah.
whole life. This isn't something virtuous. It's just, I never identified strongly with any specific phase of my life
Mm-hmm.
or any specific job
Right.
or talent.
Right.
I've never said, I'm an artist, I'm a cartoonist, or, I'm in the military. Whatever it is, I always, something inside me intuitively felt this is confining and this is limiting
Right.
to say, I am this thing.
Right. I
Because-
get that. It's something you're doing and enjoying. It's
Yeah,
not who
but-
you are.
Yes.
I like that.
So what's always gotten me through these like spaces between the desire that came to my mind and where I am currently is the idea that God is my partner, that God is doing it. And then when things happen along the way, it's signs of land.
Yeah. So
It's signs of land, not for me to go,
Right.
oh, this really isn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, painting neon tubes, you couldn't be further in it. And this was like not in a glamorous place. This was a hangar
Yeah.
at the Santa Monica airport. And I was the only one in there with string going across the hangar where I'm dipping the tubes in lacquer and then hanging them up and then doing the next one. But what I'm saying is that whole time I was doing that, I was enjoying the idea of, I don't know how I'm going to be working in television and films, but I know it's going to happen.
Yes.
And that made me her best employee.
yes. And so here's the thing. It dawned on me, and it's even dawning on me now. If someone who didn't know my friend as a friend only knew him as the head of A&R, and heard him say to them, these songs are good, you should put them out. That's a major dream come
Compliment.
true already. And so finally today, my other buddy's like, man, we need to record one of your songs. Why are we talking about it? Let's just do it.
Yes.
And then I realized he gave me the
suggestion.
golden ticket, which is, I don't know where it's going to lead,
But you got to do it.
I got to do that step. And then I can even show
Share
him.
them with- yes.
Yeah, and who knows where it's going to lead. But it's important to not get discouraged when it doesn't quite look like you think it does, but to listen closely, what really just happened? Because if we lose our faith, we lose perspective on the good that God is doing. And I wanted to say this morning, so nowadays my routine is get up, do my routine, get that wonderful feeling. Today I got that feeling I am changing my thinking. I am changing my life, because I read something in Think and Grow Rich. We don't need to read that whole thing.
Right.
But I didn't even forgot I even had this book, but I looked on the shelf
Think and
and
Grow
my mind
Rich
goes,
is the book he's holding up.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I almost ignored it, but I was like, wait, I just talked about thinking. So I pulled it off, and it said, basically, the universe has to respond to a burning desire.
Yeah.
And I realized in that moment, my desire wasn't burning, right? And I was thinking, why isn't it? And then I realized, I feel like I'm in this cocoon of smallness. And for a moment, I felt like I was trapped. But then I go, wait a second. Because my intuition whispered in my ear, you made that cocoon. That means if you stop making it, it has to disappear.
Yeah.
You are not a victim of these people. You're not a victim of your in-laws or whoever you
Right.
think is judging you. God bless you guys, Bob and Linda, if you hear this. But we all do this in our heads. You are not a victim of any of that. And it was so empowering. I said, I made these lies. I told myself these lies. And now I was letting those lies then tell me, because if we tell ourselves lies, those lies start to tell us lies back. We got to remember that I'm the one who told those lies in the first place, and I don't believe them anymore.
No.
And then I got up, didn't mope, because all of a sudden I was high as a kite, and then I was like, oh, but where did that feeling go? Instead I said, time to get on with the day. And Darrell's been encouraging me. Doesn't matter how much you slept or didn't sleep or whatever, do your morning routine, get on with the day.
Yeah.
Dugan said, no one ever died of lack of
sleep.
So I just keep that in mind, because when things are shifting, like they call it chemicalization or whatever you want to call it, but just don't worry about anything, because when you're putting your mind and your heart in the hands of God, it changes everything. So when I had like 20 minutes to go surf real quick, and I knew that would just get my body moving. The ocean water feels good. Had a great session, but in the water, what shifted it, and then we're going to get on to our guest, was Darrell gave me, right before I went out, I talked to him, and he gave me and you can tell me if this affirmation is correct, God is now renewing my mind and improving my circumstances.
Yeah, that's my go-to for years. I say to myself, God is renewing my mind and improving my circumstances.
That's right. And I was out there because all of a sudden it felt like, how am I ever going to let go? And instead I said, no, God is right now.
Yes.
And it opened me back up, and I just had the most amazing session. And so whatever you're doing, if thoughts come up that feel bad, it's because they're too small. They're resisting all that godness that's coming through. And you don't have to believe them. In fact, you have a choice to say with authority, I don't believe these thoughts. This is what I believe. That's denial and affirmation. And I'm, practice right along with me, because I'm learning it like never before. I don't believe in that. This is what I believe. And then trust, because that's the thing. Darrell's getting me totally unhooked from trying to be my own therapist or try to manage too much. It's just, these are just thoughts. To be quite frankly, I don't even know how to let go of them, but God does.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to let God do the work. And things that you might hear a voice, but psychology says it takes this long. It doesn't.
No.
It takes seconds. Once it's released and God comes in, miracles start happening immediately.
We want to bring our guest on. I just want to say a couple quick things. One is, just do the indicated action, and
Yes.
you got to keep that open as not think this is the thing. Because some people would think, okay, the A&R guy told me to record the song, so now we better record it, and we better make it perfect, because now we're only recording this and making it perfect to send to him.
Yeah.
No, it's just do the next indicated thing, because driving to go record the song with your friends and making the song and putting it together at the studio, those are the moments you can't be thinking this has to be perfect for this guy.
No.
Because in those moments, you won't meet the lady who says, hey, can you paint neon tubes for $10 an hour?
Right.
Meaning you got to be open, because it's just another step on the yellow brick road.
Yeah.
And about growing beyond our cocoon, I'm just going to read a few quick quotes.
I want to add one thing to that, because what this is doing actually too is reconnecting me that I don't want to write music and stop performing. I want to perform it, write it, sell it. I want to do all of it. So this is just, it's awesome, because it's actually just getting me back to do what I want to do anyway. So go ahead.
So here we go. This is from August 9th, which is today, from Touchstones. It's a daily meditation for men, but women like it too.
There you go.
Yeah. We must embrace the absurd and go beyond everything we have ever known. And that's what we're talking about here. That's by Janie Gustafson. And it says, we have stepped beyond the limits of our former life and accepted the possibility of the unknown. When we decide to be less controlling, keeping ourselves small and protected, we begin to believe in possibilities we didn't allow before. That is how we let God influence our lives. We can be open to surprising possibilities. God, give me the courage to step into the unknown, the absurd, and experience the awakening of my spirit.
Yes. Coming up next, special guest Reverend Sherry Hursey inspires us to utilize our mountain-moving faith. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, live from Middle School Studios in beautiful downtown Culver City, the heart of Screenland.
Now Sherry can rejoin us.
Do you have to use the restroom? Or are you ready to go?
Why? I'm ready.
I'm ready, yeah. Oh, you're muted at the moment.
Now I'm here. Am I good?
Yeah, can you turn up the
Yes.
volume a
Let
little?
me turn up the volume a little. Not on your end. You're good. Okay.
All right.
I
All
told
right.
my hubby who's here too if he wanted to maybe join us in a bit, but
Okay, cool.
my partner in crime.
All right. Well, I'll welcome us back to the segment, and then we'll start talking. And this is called Unity of the Oaks, correct?
Is it Unity of the Oaks or Unity of Thousand Oaks?
Unity of the Oaks.
In Thousand Oaks.
In Thousand Oaks. Unity of the Oaks. In
Okay,
Thousand Oaks.
we'll make sure you say that. In Thousand
Yeah,
Oaks, in
yeah.
case people want to go.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Today's show is called Mountain Moving Faith, and we are now joined by the amazing Reverend Sherry Hursey from Unity of the Oaks in Thousand Oaks, California. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I loved what you were talking about.
Yeah,
Got
we
me
would
all
go ahead.
inspired and pumped up.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just going to say we'd love to hear some of that inspiration. What do you want? What you have to share with us?
Well, I love talking about making God your partner. Um, can't even tell you the list of amazing synchronicities. My entire life, I feel like, is a testimony to this. And I mean, I've come so far from where I began as a child. I thought I lived on another planet as a kid. I lived in the deep South, and I didn't relate to a lot of things that we did there, like, just even eating barbecued pork from a pig on the barbecue. I mean, there were just so many things that were like, where am I from? I'm not from here. And I had to really develop a relationship with God, with Source at a young age, and recognize that my way of thinking was okay. And I look at the evidence of having that kind of faith as a young person now, and it just makes me weep when I walk into even the center where I live. The story of how I moved up here, the story of how this all came to be, were all major manifestations of faith. That I lived in the San Fernando Valley. I've been an actor for 44 plus years professionally, and camera and television and film and voiceover and music, and I was very happy doing all of that. And then I moved into production, producing, but I was always a unitic. Always. I started at 14. I found Dr. Seuss Sicking in Santa Monica when I
Oh my
first
God.
moved here from
Wow.
South
Yeah.
Carolina. And there was so much challenge in my childhood that I needed help. And she helped me find a therapist. She kind of
Wow.
inspired me, got me on my path. I mean, I was making major choices at that age to what path I was going to take. And I just get chills. She really helped set me on. As soon as I walked into that Unity Church, I went, these are my people. This is what I've always known to be true. Oh my.
Yeah.
And then during the course of my career, I moved to New York for about 8 years. I lived in Manhattan. I did New York theater. I did Broadway. I did all of that. And I went to Eric Butterworth's church for 8 years of my life.
Wow.
So, and today what cracks me up is the soloist from Eric Butterworth's church, Stephen LaHue, is now the music director still for Unity Center of New York City. And during COVID, he found me and my husband, and he started playing music together, and we have, like, I don't know, 100 videos online from during COVID when we were producing our shows online.
Wow.
So cut to I was Reverend Molly Rocky, my mentor. Someone invited me to come up and guest sing in Thousand Oaks 13 years ago, and I thought, wow, that's a little far for me. I live in the valley, in the heart of San Fernando Valley. But I went up anyway and fell in love with the congregation. The energy was just love, a container of love, and it was so palpable that I never left. And I stayed the music director for 10 years, of course, taking SEE classes through Reverend Molly and everybody else, not for credit, although she made me do that. And then at one point when she retired, I thought, I'm just going to get credentialed, maybe a licensed teacher, just use my credential to help this church stay open because they went through the whole process of finding a new minister. And when I called Reverend Lynn, she said, to find out, Reverend Lynn Odell at UWM, she said, have you ever considered being a minister? Haven't you been a leader a long time? And I said, oh, no, I'm not minister material. I'd be like the Bette Midler of ministers. No. And she said, I think you should consider it. And I sat down to meditate and I just kind of jokingly said to the universe, me, a minister? And I heard a finally in this big kind of like amazing energy. And I just, it brought me to my knees, honestly. And I went, oh my God, I am a minister. I've been a minister my whole life.
Yeah.
You mean I could stop with the distractions of everyday life and focus entirely on my path? Wow. So I got to tell you, it's been the best gift of my life. I've had an amazing ride. I feel like I'm not even halfway through my life, my ride, but everything has just been lined up. And I believe with all of my heart that it's not only, it's faith with intention.
Yeah.
I didn't visualize, my husband said to me, you didn't visualize becoming a minister of a church. And I said, never. But I served this church with all my heart for 10 years. I got up during, when we came back in and we were in the parking lot and I was setting up the microphones and the live stream cameras and running all the wires and being the AV person. I set it up with an intention to serve. And then I was gifted the role of being the spiritual leader. That's how I look at it. And not everybody said to me, congratulations, not one person. What they said to me was, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm having the time of my life because all I think we can do is share the experiences like the two of you are doing, the experiences in our life that we know are in alignment with God, in alignment with Source. Share those experiences and how we got there. And it might just be a light bulb for someone else because we can't really teach anyone anything. We have to discover it ourselves, but we can be a guide. And that's what the two of you are doing. And I'm honored to be your guest today. I have so many stories I could talk. I'm a talker. I could talk forever. So you might want to interrupt me.
Well, I mean, this is a lot of good stuff. Cece, who has been a guest, if you've listened to us before, we've done shows before with Cece Gatan. She's one of our fan favorites. She's watching on YouTube right now, we can see. And so what I was going to say, and when she recommended you, she sent me a text and recommended you. And because it's Cece and her personality, because you never know when people recommend someone, it could be anything, especially if you don't know the person. Because we've had people recommended and some of them we were like, uh-oh, we're just going to get through this one and not, jump overboard and we'll be okay. But as soon as she recommended you, I said, okay, this can't be bad. This has got to be good. So I immediately said, what's her, meaning you, what's Reverend Sherry's contact info? And I told Ed, we sent the request to you if you were interested. And then we watched your YouTube services. But I already knew because of Cece that you would probably end up being exactly as you are, which is a good thing because you're a wonderful person. We could tell by your energy on the show. And I highly recommend people who are listening to check out those videos at Unity of the Oaks on YouTube, or you can just go to their website.
Yeah.
If you do a Google search, it's, if you put Unity of the Oaks, Thousand Oaks, it's going to come up because you gave you give really good talks. And it's the type of talks that we enjoy because you're not just talking at us, you're giving us tips and tools. It's like a pep rally for people who really want to transform their lives for the better, through a practical spiritual process with tips and tools on how to do that from somebody who you can tell, and this is the key, who actually lives it. Because we've heard a lot of talks from some ministers that are like, they're giving a book report. You know, they want to give a good book report, but it's so much more inspiring to hear someone like yourself and some of the other ministers we've had on our show who do it exactly like you said about us, which is the highest compliment, where we share actual stories on the topic from real life. So the audience members can go, holy cow, this makes total sense. I could do that. I didn't know this is what faith meant. I mean, that's the part we love, because I got to be reminded.
Yes, I mean, I read this because we're doing a workshop now on the artist's way. Have you ever done that practice? It's so awesome.
Yeah.
And there was a quote from the artist way class on Thursday that I just struck me so much because I'm a creative. I'm just an artistic type. I need to be creating all the time. And I think that's something that we lose track of when we get a little older. When we're young, we're creating constantly. But as we get older, we sort of give that up, thinking we got to be somehow responsible for our lives. And that's a little hard for me. I'm even one of those people that I say to my whole board, I'm gonna plan 3 months only because I gotta leave room for spirit. And it's going to be flexible.
Yes.
I don't know what direction we have to take, and I want to hear it. I want to feel it. I want to know it. Even if I get up there that morning and I say, you know what, got another direction last night, guys, and we just go with it, because that for me is really what Eric Butterworth taught, living in the flow and not letting your hose be kinked. So for me, there is a quote from Artist's Way yesterday. It says, creativity is God's gift to us. Using our creativity is our gift to God, and using it every day. I think I realized that in that quote, that's how I live my life. And that's how I stay connected to God. I allow that flow of creativity. That's how I connect to source. I allow that flow of creativity to be in everything I do. When Spirit said to me, move out of the valley, I felt this all over. I mean, I've had so many ahas in my life. And this one to move up here was a huge one. I just got sort of the desire in my heart that I no longer needed to be hitting the pavement, doing what I did, that I could slow down from that. I could, had enough of a reputation. People could reach out to me for work. I wasn't in need of just auditioning and doing the whole circuit all the time. I had plenty of work coming, and I thought, I want to move away someplace where I can be really, really just have a sanctuary. And I wanted to move up here to where my people were, but I left it open. Like you were saying, I left it open. I didn't label it. This is exactly what I want. I didn't force anything. There was no agenda other than I knew with all of my heart that I needed to make this move. And so we looked for quite a while, my husband and I, all around the periphery of Los Angeles, all the time hoping that I would be able to find my dream home up here near Thousand Oaks. And so as it turned out, a little pocket, a little area just outside of Thousand Oaks and Moore Park, we looked at a house next door that was on the market. It's apparently a little pocket that is never, they never have a house available because people don't want to leave. It's such a sweet little neighborhood. So we found this house, but it was kind of the same size as ours in the valley. It just seemed like a lateral move. And I stood out on the balcony there. I looked at the house next door. It had flat land. It was on an acre, had a beautiful view, all these things that I was picturing. And I went, I want that house. My husband said he'll never forget. We looked at the other house again because this one wasn't on the market. So I came over, I looked in the window, it was gutted. There was nothing in the house. There were no walls, no floors, no nothing. And I knew without a doubt that was my house. And I asked to speak to the real estate agent. And I said to my real estate agent, can you find out who owns this house? And she said, oh no, he lives up here. He'll never sell. He bought this house. He's a developer. He bought it for his daughter. He'll never sell. Would you just call him or maybe give me his number? So she called him and she called me back and said, I can't believe this. He'd just been thinking about putting it on the market for a couple of hours.
Yep.
So now to buy a house like that, you have to have cash. Complete cash, because you can't get a loan from a bank, right?
Right.
We didn't have that. We hadn't sold my house in the valley. So I'm like, okay, God, what's the next move here? So we had a friend. We said, can we show you a friend that has some income in their account that we can show qualify enough? And he said, okay. The guy let us come in along with these other developers, and he pretended he was the real estate agent, not the owner. And he walked me around the property. He walked everywhere. I fell in love with him. I knew in my gut he was actually the owner. And went because he had so much pride. And he took us down to the backyard, and there are these trees called a sapote tree. And they have these, it's South American fruit. And he said, you have to try the fruit. He was from Israel. And he said, you have to try the fruit from the tree. And I said, no. And he said, you don't eat fruit? And I said, oh, I do. But if I eat this fruit, this house is mine. And he looked at me and laughed, and he took a little knife out. He started to cut it. He's smiling. He hands me the fruit. I go, if I eat this fruit, this house is mine. And he gives me the fruit. And we go upstairs, and the real estate agent said, she wants this house really badly. Can you speak to the owner? And he said, you're looking at him. Not only did he give us the house, he carried half of the loan for
Oh my God.
we built. Yeah.
Wow.
He's one of our good friends. And these are the kind of miracles that continue to happen.
Yep.
And just, isn't that incredible? I have my dream palace, my sanctuary. I live close to my community. We have prayer retreats here. We do concerts during COVID outside on the balcony, you know.
Wow.
But yeah, but it has to do with, like you said, you have the faith, but you still have to take the step, the bold step, the next indicated action in that direction.
Yes.
And like if you get the hunch to ask or take a peek, do it. Because that's the, I mean, we're not going to tell all the stories I have and you have. I mean, that's the fantastic story to be
That's a
our
beautiful
last story. And when you were, for today's episode anyway, of course, we want to invite you back sometime if you would want
Awesome.
to.
I want you to meet my hubby too, because he's my other half and we do music together. He's my music director now. And
Oh, wow.
he's quite an amazing guy. He plays with Kenny Loggins, and he was in Ambrosia for a long time. He's
Oh my God.
rock and roller. Yeah.
We were just talking about Kenny Loggins from that Alan Cohen book we read.
Here's the thing. When you were talking earlier, I wrote this down and then you said it. When you were talking earlier about faith with intention, and I wrote, and flexibility. And then you went on to tell the story and you said, yeah, I don't plan 3 months in advance, like more than 3 months in advance, sorry, because we want, and this is what Dugan taught me too. Mike Dugan was the guy who I bumped into, just like you bumped into Sue Sicking. I bumped into Mike Dugan at the perfect time when I was 23. And he shared what was perfect for me. And I had the same exact reaction when reading these books and showing up at my first Unity service at the bottom of Diamond Head, and David McClure was the minister. The thought was, like, I didn't need to be convinced. It was like, this makes total sense. It was almost like I already knew this.
Yes.
And it was so easy to accept. But he would say this, even when making my morning routine, I make my little list. I imagine that's what we mean when the morning routine is, when we get up, we read from some inspirational books and think of our day ahead in a positive manner, how the best
I
me
think of the
would like
CSO, just like you
Yes.
do, the chief spiritual officer. I give him
Yes.
what I'm asking you for.
Yes. And then the key is
Give
he
it up.
always calls my to-do list, which is what I call it, is my best attempt at what God's will is for me today. Because then it allows me to be open. I don't have to be so rigid. I got to get this. I got to check this off. No, I can go, okay, this is an interruption. What wonderful things are going to come of this? You know, it allows me to be free, let God have free play with me. And then that's when these miraculous golden links show up that we could have never planned, never expected. But I'll tell you one thing, if we stick to the control of, hard, fast, no, I said I was going to do these things today. I must do these things. Well, then I can guarantee I will miss them.
Mm.
It's the energy. It's the restricted energy.
Yes.
I'm grateful that I was OCD growing up because I couldn't control anything else in my life, so I controlled my little space. But I'm so familiar with that feeling of control, that feeling of if things are out of place or
Oh,
that anxiety. I'm so familiar with living with that anxiety that I don't want to ever allow it. And so the minute I start to feel it, I go, okay, you're out of flow. It's
yes.
such an indicator for me to remember when I'm in and out of flow. And I'm
Yes.
grateful
Yeah.
for that. I'm so grateful that I was like that.
You know, that's so helpful to me. You're, a couple things I want to thank you because I listened to the talk, the Hawaiian talk that you
Oh
did
yeah.
about, and I never really was drawn to that. Well, what's
Oh, Pono.
there's something, yeah, something about it, maybe who I heard it from or whatever. I don't know, but I just decided, I'm going to do this with you, and I was just doing it while you were just talking about it. And I just sat in my chair and I started seeing people and faces that were either scary to me or judging, whatever had been coming up, and I started doing the what is it? I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
forgive
Sorry,
me.
please forgive me. Thank you. I
Forgive
love
me.
I love you.
And as
Yeah.
I did that, I got what I needed, which was it's so weird because I'm doing that, but what happened inside was this voice came forward like, how dare I think this small thoughts about myself? Like, how dare I think that way about myself? And it was so revelatory and what I needed. Like, when you're trying to scratch an itch and the perfect thing, it like brought
Yeah.
me fully back to my spirit and this fierceness of a voice inside me that was like, I know what I'm doing. All this stuff that's been bogging me is pure lies. I don't have to process it, or I know it's not true.
Yeah.
And so I needed to hear that just now, which is using it as an indicator of
When I'm out of flow.
when I'm just out of flow. Because
Yeah.
I just had a really good acupuncture session with my buddy Jeremiah, who's amazing. I met him a while back at the spiritual psychology program, but he's so good. He runs a VA program he's a very kind, like kindness is his mission. And he's so good at listening. And when I walked in, he said, because I've been letting go of this, like that cocoon of smallness that I realized I had built for myself, like a warm, and it feels terrible. But the thing that saved me this morning was I made this. It's not something someone put on me. So if I made it, I can let it go.
Yeah.
And he was like, is there something going on about, the world values the rich guy who has all the houses and flips them, and that's what a real man is. And whereas you're just like an educator who has touched the lives of so many people throughout, because I teach been in the special education for 28 years. And he goes, man, you need to look. He didn't know, but that's what my father-in-law does, is real estate, and my brother-in-law. And that's some of the place that I noticed the smallness was, the cocoon was in my relationship with my wife and her family, because I've been unexpectedly home all summer, which has been a blessing. Like the universe kicked me out of doing summer school, which I've done for 20 years, but I've wanted to not do it. And finally I overlooked the application. So I had all this time, but it really brought forward a lot of what was going on with me relating to my wife and her family, and how that cocoon of just that smallness
You
is
let
just
yourself, feel
yeah.
that.
And so he's like, I said, not only, so he gives me that example. I go, dude, you're not going to believe this, but that's exactly the dynamic. So the intuition, that's the thing. Each step of the way, is just amazing. The conversations we have, when you're going through something, you might think the person that you're with would never have any way to relate. If you just bless it, a moment later, they're going to be like, I experienced this. Or it's just amazing how every door starts to
Yeah,
open when we just
you can live in that.
surrender. Yeah.
We're doing a movie series right now. It's kind of a fun thing we do at Unity the Oaks, where we do we do metaphysical interpretations of movies. So I started with The Princess Bride a couple of weeks ago, and I realized afterwards that when Wesley says, the character Wesley, as you wish, that so touched me in that movie. First of all, I love Rob Reiner movies, but that is so empowering to remember that that's really our relationship with God, with Source. No matter what we are asking, it is always a yes.
Yeah.
Have to be careful what we're asking, what we're holding in consciousness, and that opened, because everything, like you were saying, if you just keep holding that intention, that positive intention, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. It's just
Yeah.
going to be yes. Everywhere you look, it's going to be yes. And
Yeah.
it works the same way when you're holding the fear and the restricted energy, when you're holding the insecurity, when you're holding the less than, when you're holding all of those false beliefs, you're going to keep seeing them show up because it's our creativity. It's us, what we're creating.
Yes.
And so I love that. I love that. And I think the whole beauty of the path really is being able to recognize, like you're being able to witness when you allow yourself to be small, to feel that cocoon, when you allow yourself to become less than and say, no, 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 this isn't the truth. Because
Yeah.
it's that contrast that helps us grow. That's the
Yeah.
only way we can, and so the more we can stay in that liminal space, being able to see which path we want to take, the better off we are. Ooh, that gave me chills. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Because, yeah.
This has been a fantastic episode.
Yes.
We before we end, we have a little story. Now that we know you were actually an actress, well, still are. You're
I
creative.
never watched Home Improvement, Tim
Oh
Allen.
yeah,
I
yeah.
played Al's girlfriend for years, and then
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
man.
I was Eileen, and then the movie Bring It On, I play the mom, Kirsten Dunst's mom. I've done, oh gosh, a lot of movies, 200
That's so
actually.
cool.
Well-
Wow.
Well, we got something from TMZ, Sherry. We're gonna read a little story we found about you
Uh-oh.
before we close out this show.
Yeah. Reverend Sherry overheard three boys who were playing outside the Unity of the Oaks. Two of the boys were bragging about their dads. One said,
My dad scribbles a few words, calls it a song, and they pay him $50.
another said,
Oh yeah? My dad scribbles a few words, calls it a poem, and they pay him $100.
and the third boy said,
That's nothing. Reverend Sherry scribbles a few words, calls it a sermon, and it takes 6 people to collect all the money in the room.
Tears. I'm going with that.
yes.
Marion. Oh my goodness.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us. We want to thank everybody for tuning in and give our love to everyone out there at Unity of the Oaks. What an amazing time we've had. Thank you so much for the inspiration. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, and it's been a pleasure having you on the show. This was a great show. I mean, you really inspired us, and I'm sure our listeners as well. So thank you so much for agreeing to be on.
And
Funniest
likewise,
Thing.
you did me too. I'm so happy to meet you both. I've heard a lot about you from CC. So
Oh, we just want to bring pure metaphysics to the people, and that's exactly what you did today. So thank you.
And now we always end it with a poorly sang song.
This part?
Yeah. So you ready?
All right. I'm on my way, I'm making it. I've got to make it show, yeah. So much larger than life. I'm gonna watch it grow, yeah. Woo! Have a great week, everybody.
Sherry, thank you. We'll see you
What a
again
pleasure,
soon.
guys. Okay.
Bye.
Big love
Bye,
to you.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Come see me sometime.
Yes,
We will.
We will.
Thank you.